My wife Alana and I were at an upscale restaurant when I noticed my oldest and best friend approaching our table. I quickly whispered this to my wife. Terence Landis is coming here. Remember I told you that he was my best friend since second grade? This is true, but be very careful with him. He is a big lover of women. Fortunately, I should be safe. Alana answered quietly. Isn't he that friend of yours who is very rich? I nodded to my wife and stood up to shake Terence's hand. He hugged me tightly, like a bear. It was a little awkward in such a public setting. Tim, damn glad to see you again. It's been a long time since we spent time together. Terence stated, slowly looking Alana from head to tits, lingering on her impressive breasts. May I assume this is your charming wife Alana? I was in Singapore when you married her, but I sent a gift. Hope you enjoyed it. You're the friend who sent Tim that new pickup truck, aren't you? Alana exclaimed, standing up and holding out her arms for a hug. Alana, this is my best friend Terence, I managed as he politely but firmly pulled me aside to embrace Alana in his arms. Terence, meet my wife, Alana. I told her a lot about you. You never mentioned that he was so tall and handsome, Alana quickly pointed out, hugging Terence longer than I thought was appropriate for a married woman. What brings you to Daytona, Terence? I just bought a condominium in the Dunes, and I'm renovating it. I'm renting a room at a local hotel and just came in for dinner alone. You bought a condominium in the Dunes and are renovating it? They are practically brand new. I can't imagine what could be changed there, Alana answered. I heard that the price of the smallest one starts at more than $1 million. It's true, Terence agreed. However, their bedrooms are small, they seem tight to me. Fortunately, there was a free penthouse and I bought it. I'll paint it and replace the furniture. It was obvious to me that Terence was doing everything he could to impress Alana. He always knew how to determine what interests a woman and immediately caught her main interest. Alana was an extremely mercantile girl. I had a decent income and more than a few dollars saved, but Alana seemed determined to send us to the poorhouse. We were celebrating our 3rd anniversary, but she seemed to ignore me in favor of Terence. It was so obvious that some of the visitors looked in my direction with obvious sympathy. Looks like the waiter is bringing our food, Alana. We should take our seats and eat while it's still hot, I reasoned, thinking that we could focus on each other again. Alana didn't dispute anything I said, but she upped the ante just by looking at our steaks. Terence, you should join us. Tim always speaks so kindly of you and I wish I could get to know you better. My husband's best friend is my friend too. I hate to intrude on a romantic dinner, Terence began as I nodded in understanding. Nonsense, Alana immediately intervened. Waiter, Terence will join us for dinner. Could you set the table for him? Thank you very much. The waiter turned on his heels and went in search. In less than a minute, Terence was sitting at our table and monopolizing the conversation. I managed to win a game of solitaire on my phone while he and Alana discussed anything and everything. I largely ignored their conversation until I heard Alana address me. Tim, we have 2 free rooms. Why don't we ask Terence to stay with us? You 2 guys could continue to make up for lost time. Terence will have the opportunity to sample home cooking. His apartment will be finished in about a week. This will not be an imposition at all. I was stunned by Alana's statement. Did she think Terence would like her cooking? I had no doubt that she would order very expensive takeout from very nice restaurants and then serve it on her best china. Knowing Terence as I did, I was pretty sure he'd be dining at the Y by the end of the week, except that it would please any connoisseur of fine cuisine. My first wife, Helen, died after 22 years of marriage. He and Terence were great friends, but I never worried about them acting inappropriately. Helen was as reliable and devoted as a wife could be. Unfortunately, she died of a sudden heart attack 5 years ago. I grieved for over a year before I met Alana at a charity event. She was 11 years younger than me, but it didn't seem to matter to her. Soon I proposed to her, and we were married for 3 years. This was Alana's second marriage. She divorced her first husband after she caught him cheating, or so she claimed. The only thing I wouldn't do is cheat on my wife. It just wasn't in me, and Alana knew it. It seemed like it didn't take much convincing on Alana's part to convince Terrence to stay with us, other than the significant amount of cleavage she showed as she leaned towards him to hang on his every word. Naturally, Terrence didn't have to get up early in the morning to go to work. This curse is for those of us who don't have millions of dollars in the bank. Alana hasn't had a job since she divorced her first husband. She apparently handled her divorce pretty well. She made me sign a prenuptial agreement that stated that I would never claim her money, no matter how long we were married. This suited me, as I had a stable income from my investments, as well as a very good job. When I got home Monday night, Alana and Terrence seemed even friendlier than they had been at the restaurant the night before. Dinner was ready, and it was exceptionally delicious. I checked the trash can. As I expected, it contained containers from a local restaurant. Terrence and Alana were so immersed in their little world that they didn't even notice how I, somewhat irritated, left the living room, climbed the stairs, and went to bed. I didn't feel embarrassed because they didn't pay any attention to me. I was very surprised when I came home on Wednesday evening and found Alana apparently waiting for me. She was sitting on an expensive sofa that she simply needed. Next to her, in my opinion, too close, especially for a friend, a man she had recently met, was Terrence. "Tim, we need to talk," was Alana's first salvo. I was again taken by surprise. It was just a fucking Wednesday. How the hell could Terrence work his magic so quickly? I knew he was good at everything he set his mind to, but this was damn impressive. "It will cost me more than a few dollars." I was sure of it. Terrence and I discovered that we were kindred spirits, Alana explained. We didn't want this to happen, but it happened. We both feel terrible about this, but there's no denying the incredibly strong attraction we feel for each other. "Tim, I'm going to divorce you. As soon as this is final, I will marry Terrence. Please don't try to talk me out of this. I'll be damned if I'll give up my house and half my savings just because you couldn't keep your legs together and that ass wiper couldn't keep his dick in his pants. I will fight you every step of the way," I said with such conviction that I did not feel at all in myself. "This is so typical of an insecure little person," Alana said with contempt. "I didn't marry you for money and I don't want it when we divorce. Terrence and I both think the divorce will go much faster if I just walk away with the money I brought into the marriage. What do you think, Tim? Is this incentive enough to give me a quick divorce?" Alana demanded. "Where do you want me to sign?" I slyly parried. "I knew money meant more to you than me. I'll spend the next few nights with Terrence while we wait for his apartment to be painted." "I don't want to hear any complaints, no whining, crying or whining," Alana insisted. I simply nodded, turned, and walked into the nearest tavern. It's amazing how quickly a divorce can move through the courts when the three people involved are passionate about it, and one of them is very rich. A few months later, I was a single man again. The weekend after my divorce became final, I went back to the same restaurant I had been to with Alana when she first met Terrence. I found him sitting at a table for two. I just walked in and joined him. "Do you want to kiss my feet here in the restaurant, or wait for a more private setting?" Terrence asked with a wide smile. I wasn't so calm. "I don't know how you can be so happy. You shouldn't have asked Alana to marry you. Now she can come after you for cheating, breaking a contract, outright lying, or for being such a jerk to her." "That won't happen," Terrence answered calmly. "As usual, you don't see the big picture. Why don't you enlighten me then? I know Alana and she is nothing if not a stubborn, vindictive, evil little devil. You didn't feel that way when you asked her to marry you, did you?" Terrence asked with a chuckle. "Think about this. What was the last straw that made you decide that you wanted to get rid of her?" "Don't know. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that her damn personal trainer had her 3 times a week. For some reason it worked on my breaker. She held me by the throat. If I had filed for divorce, even for adultery, she would have gotten half of it plus spousal support. That's why I turned to you for help. I never thought that you would be able to get her to ask for a divorce by Wednesday. It was amazing." "Your line of shit must have improved even more over the years," I added. "It has more to do with how my portfolio has improved over the years." Once she realized how much money I had, she was able to seduce me instantly. I have to say I will miss her between the sheets. Having sex with your wife was one of the brightest moments of my life, Terrence admitted joyfully. It was this special talent of hers that pulled me into this story. I answered seriously. You did a great job freeing me from that money-grubbing bitch. But why don't you care anymore about how she'll take it when you left her without ever getting married? She can figure out the whole plan. She may be a whore, but she's smart. Remember I mentioned the big picture, Terrence asked. As an engagement gift, I gave Alana a weekend at the Ritz, with a spa day included. You're an idiot, I spat at him. Didn't I tell you that Alana's stud, the personal trainer, is now a massage therapist at the Ritz? She could have bumped into him. What are you saying? I ordered it for her when I was designing the spa, Terrence admitted. Last night I decided to visit her just to see how pleased she was with my gift. Since I paid for the room, I had a key. Luckily my phone was preset for video. No wonder I found her extremely happy with my gift. Was she with him? Do you have a video? Did she cheat on you? I dealt with it by slowly getting my thoughts in order. You must have been very upset, perhaps angry enough to break off the engagement. Alana was devastated by my unforgiving attitude. Terrence replied with a grin. It was the first time she did something like that. This will never happen again. I agreed with her on this. This won't happen to me. Right now she's out shopping, returning my gifts, at least in between sobs and curses. You owe me dinner for making her say on Wednesday that she wants a divorce, Terrence added with a wide smile. You saved me a fortune, bro. I'll be happy to treat you to dinner. You have always been by my side. Alana has no idea about relationships, but you know what true friendship is. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story. Because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one. Listening to the next one. Listening.